The final game of NA East, day number 1, is underway, ladies and gentlemen.
And wherever you are watching, thank you for tuning in, whether it's in Legends Landing, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, it don't matter. We got a split path here right down the middle, so maybe not necessarily any of those early tags coming through, but we'll be hopping on to the Chapter 3 Season 2 island one more time today. We'll have NA West right after this, where Kelly, Clay, Panda, Tokata, and Jacob will be calling all the action here as we have Iamzo and Degen trying to find some shots immediately, and we're hopping on board with Command Cavern because they had the fastest drop, or one of the fastest drops.
Looks like Sonetto takes out Skittles there in the feed. That's a early fight at the Collider, right? That's a team that we saw finding a lot of success at the Collider.
So odds are potentially good that it might be a rifle coming in and just a bad drop coming out from Skittles due to the bus path, and that's exactly what it's going to be. Users now forced over the side. That's Skittles' teammate, and we don't see anybody near or on top of him. So there's just Skittles getting picked out of the air as Duke is going to get on the board as well.
Nice elimination there for Duke. Let's take a look at a quick instant replay here, what all unfolded. You see that pressure coming in, and oh my god. The clutch up from Sonetto. Users onto Sonetto there, just putting the fire back where it deserves to be. Meanwhile, Diego and Bizzle find Slacks and Clarity G over at the Sleepy Sound. So this game already beginning off to an explosive start. Bizzle and Diego managed to find some success.
And that's what you want. If you're Bizzle and Diego, this is Diego's first time playing in the FNCS finals. And don't forget, during the qualifiers, they didn't make it through to round 4. Some 2 unfortunate 51st places in the round 3 of qualifier. I believe it was 2 and 3. It was back-to-back there where they ended up getting through. And that means not necessarily having the same amount of experience in the set lobby format. Now, Bizzle, he's been here forever. He knows what to do. However, Diego, hey man, being thrown right into the deep end is tough. Me personally, I like to kind of like stick a big toe in, see how's the water feel. No, Diego was just hooked off the side of the ship and said, swim!
Not only that, swim against Slacks and Clarity.
Right, exactly.
So good today, so it's not just any kind of finals engagement. For Stretch and Commandment, this is arguably the toughest day one we've ever seen them put on here. And it's just been rough. Battle after battle here. Death and Tavne have just been exceptional so far. And now they're going for the disrespectful pickaxe play here. They're not going to find it. Instead, he waits for the edit to come through. And he shuts things down there. And already the crossroads being a battle round after round.
And the fights over here are so odd to me because they're not actually fighting in Coney. Every time we've actually tuned into them, they're just outside of it. So you can tell there's a little bit of hesitancy to wanting to commit to the hard spot. But we know Roken and Joji, they haven't left Rocky Reels all season, and they're looking pretty good right now. Currently sitting in 5th place, 115 points in. I mean, we've talked about the individual efforts from Roken. He's been playing fantastic.
Yeah, which is really cool. Roken and Joji kind of in the earlier weeks were contested here at Rocky Reels. It was no easy drop by any means. This time they get the full drop spot to themselves, and they're finding tons of success here. And again, this is a huge, huge drop that just provides tons of loot. For Miro and Bugha, let's just do a little deep dive into what's gone on in their tournament history as, again, Miro and Bugha have found so much success early on, and then the last couple games have fallen outside that top 25. More often than not, we see them pick up these hero clutches and performances, but it's been pretty rough for them.
Yeah, I definitely want to see them try to prioritize getting more hip-to-hip in these mid-game type of situations. Right, they're very good at doing it end game and then enabling one of them to clutch up, but they have to get themselves there.
You see Mars OW and Crumbler here putting pressure onto Shoni and Polo. Polo already being eliminated. Shoni just trying to skate away in the vehicle. That build's got some boosters though, so it gets pretty far and out of line of sight, and just like that, he's still up. On the other side, you can see how it all went down here. He rolls up right behind Polar. Just like that, he takes him out. Meanwhile, the zone's fully on the eastern side as well.
Man, if I'm Polo there, I was wondering, somebody Crumbler coming right out of the water there, but Shoni doing a good job making sure he puts that seat back to an angle where it's very difficult to hit him. We talked about this a little bit last week, how in the boats typically, if we didn't necessarily have the scope burst coming through, you just would have been safe and out. But if you get a bead on their head, you saw the 39 tags coming out. However, Peterbot just continuing to loot up, continuing to look good. We're going to swing on over. Ghost Blake, Limit Lawrence. They're trying to keep themselves in the conversation and getting a little bit of an early rotate. They need to be careful about the angles here, though, as they do have 2 duos in between them and their path to the safe zone. And one of them is immediately turning around and hawking them.
Yeah, let's not forget, that was Clix and Day the last time. They like to sneak on up. Last game was a huge thorn in the side for Lawrence and Blake as they were caught completely off guard on the same exact ambush. If they don't learn from their previous mistakes, we will see them possibly collide here once again. But no, this time it's actually DeQuinted and Sphinx who's positioned up outside. Meanwhile, hopping on over to Scented and Cold, who has managed to edge their way back into second place. It's been a back and forth battle for this position here. Up against the 4th place team of Walkers and Scare Bear. Keep in mind, they are generally sharing this area, and there's another team on top of Walkers and Scare Bear. So that is not honestly the least of their concerns right now. They have more trouble on the horizon.
You can see Scented trying to swap out or split his medium ammo so they're able to go, and now they're going to head back on over to this fight, but Scare Bear and Walkers, they're already pinned Polarize and Nico pretty much directly on top of them.
In comes Scented and Cold from down low, though. Notice they're moving in very, very quickly here. They heard that shotgun go off. It blasts into distance. They say, no, this is a shot for us to get on in. And they see the opponents of Polarize and Nico there in the distance. They actually take the shot off. And a huge little pre-fire right there from Scare Bear. He finds something, but he gets tagged in the return as well.
Yeah, luckily from that distance, the striker pump is just going to be a little tickle. That's not going to be anything, pellets. You just kind of brush those off. It's merely a flesh wound. We're going to look to bite their legs off later, though, as Clix and Day getting wall-to-wall against Sphinx and DeQuinted, and Sphinx has had a very solid performance so far. He was on the top of the charts after the first couple of games with Elam, so they're going.
This is looking like a swarm in right now, though. A lot of attention being brought here, and all of a sudden now we have not 1, not 2, but 3 duos hovering around this general area. One of them, of course, being Blake and Lawrence there, looking on in.
And Day, yet again, you can see his HP bar. Didn't cover his back, took a bunch of chip damage, and now you got Booga and Miro sitting directly on top of you. And if you like to sneak up on people, there's no sneaking anywhere. Check the bottom right-hand corner. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 duos all on the southern side.
Meanwhile, Except and Voyo have big line of sight onto Miro and Booga. Luckily, they throw some walls down because otherwise they would have been completely exposed there. So, little spider sense kicking in. Miro glances back. You can see they pick up that little bit of information there off in the distance. Miro looking for any of these trades possible. Meanwhile, Voyo and Except are debating down to the left. Oh, do we get out of here? Do we stick around?
And one of the things to note, too, look at Miro's loadout right now. He wants to trade these long-distance tags or support Booga as he pushes up. If he gets jumped on and somebody has any form of shotgun, he's not going to be able to trade out efficiently. Yes, they have the Chug Splash to offset it, but they have to be careful about this rotate because him and Booga are very far away from each other. And Threats and Rise are coming around that same side. We're going to go right back on over to the stalemate, though, here, where Day and Clix still trying to pressure Sphinx and DeQuinted. They got a nice little arena here with everyone else just saying, no, fight, fight, fight. We'll just look.
Yeah, Day's looking around, though. He's trying to figure out, hey, are there any other teams glancing into this position right now? Did they leave? Are they sticking around? Because if so, we cannot take this fight, not safely, not comfortably at least. And just like that, Day and Clix are now looking for the disengage here, trying to get to the zone first. Remember, if they get to that safety position first, they can use the storm to their benefit. Every lead counts. Meanwhile, Bucky falls to Trashy there in the feed, so Trashy and Nawson already find themselves some eliminations. Let's take a look at the wide map, though.
This is the first time we're coming real up to the northeast. We did have that one zone that finished right around the Sanctuary. I believe that was game 1 or 2, but now we're directly on top of the Bugle. As Day and Clix looking for some room. They're going to have not a wee little bit of a yog to get over to the zone. You can see they're actually going to disengage out of that fight. As DJ and Yamzo, they're throwing shots towards someone.
Those are teams trying to rotate out of Command Cavern and everything in between here. Degen and Yamzo have also sort of slipped down here, and it actually looks like a team launch pattern off this high ground base. That could have been Dubs and Mega, honestly. They do like to position themselves around these general mountaintops here, but safety of the zone is right in front of them, so they'll be a-okay to go ahead and play this one out. Take some time. Meanwhile, Scare Bear and Walkers are there. Oh, there it is. It's the Geyser hitting those big rotates.
Chimp took a bunch of damage from the side. I believe that was Demonics and Nick trying to roll up on them over there, and Chimp just over peaking a little bit. As you can see, players are trying to prioritize. You can check the bottom right, getting on top of these outcroppings in the bugle. When the zone drops directly on top of them, if you can get up, invest a little bit of your brick, a little bit of your metal, you have some fantastic sight lines, and it gives you the priority position.
The wide shot, though, telling a story in its own. Not many teams on that north side, so the collateral will start to begin on the south portion. Meanwhile, Aviv and Gold, who have sort of just snuck their way on into this top 3 position here, are looking for Storm Surge right now.
I want to say snuck their way in, but we've seen a lot of Aviv in the late game, picking up eliminations, picking up placement points. It's something he's been doing incredibly well in a very stacked lobby. So honestly, some of the newcomers, the new blood, we talked about this being one of the most finals appearances out of a singular region with 435, but the people showing up are the new kids on the block.
Yeah, hide and seek, Nets being some of them as well. There's a lot to catch up on, so Vivid, give us what you got.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of our top teams and what they're rocking out of this early game. First, Peterbot and Violet, they are doing great. They got the Chug Splashes, they got some Floppers, and that Dr. Sloan Striker assault rifle there. Also, Miro here, interestingly enough, he doesn't actually have a shotgun, but also has Chug Splashes. And then one more team we want to look at is Scented and Cold. They have the pad and Chug Splashes. These Chug Splashes are so good in the end games. You can use them for green health or shields. So let's see what they can do with them.
I also love just right on the little bit of the replay, you could see Scented. He just throws a full shotgun blast towards that bush, knowing if somebody's in there, he will at least get the shield tag. And fun little info on the top right. Haji and Suscripts 2 elim tied for the fewest ever in a VR during the NA East Finals. That basically means you picked up probably the last duo who was there. So nice little impressive performance coming out there to secure the VR, but only really walking away with 38 points for that one, which we generally see as a lot higher mark. But Melito and Igna, they're getting on the board there, picking up Creo and Vert.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here, even for Muzz and Avery now, who position themselves up way up top. For Byla and Peterbot, though, there hasn't been a single problem they couldn't solve here today. Right now, though, one of the first times in the tournament here, we see them slightly below the Storm Surge here. Meanwhile, Senta goes down to the hands of Acorn, and that's not just a knock, it's actually a full finish.
It's going to be dangerous. Cold is going to be forced into a 1v2 situation, and we've talked about how the rest of the lobby is playing catch-up, and if you're Peterbot and Byla, the more of those top teams you see going down and sneaking a fantastic headshot in there, and another one towards the back. This man just throws shots towards everyone and finds it. See, Avery gets a knock onto Av. Cold is on the right side of our screen here, just trying to play a little sneaky snake, a little bit of bushwalking going on, as Peterbot is going to ask for his teammate to open the edit as he then holds the line. And one thing I do want to note is Peterbot and Byla are one of the few who we see prioritize having floppers every single game.
Yeah, definitely. And remember, having those quick heals can be so beneficial in tons of different scenarios. And floppers kind of fell out of favor, I feel like, since the reintroduction of Chug Splashes, which both are so good for quick heals, but again, each their own more and faster heals from those floppers. But hold up, Users fell in the feed. That's an important one. He was up inside that top 10 there, so another one of our teams that have been relatively consistent today, already down. And of course, we're watching Scented and Cold's journey here start to unfold. Take a look. That is Skittles right there, trying to play for Users. Revival now, trying to get him back in the game. He's still at the command cavern, barely above the surge, though. I think he'll have enough to hold on.
I mean, this game, again, we talked about kind of the pace picking up towards the back half of the board. I doubt we will see that tomorrow. With 75 players, only 5 more will need to go down. He might have the opportunity to out-heal, especially with 4 medkits, 2 floppers, and all the fishing spots that's in the cavern. But we talked about Bizzle and Diego needing to get a little bit more of that experience. Bizzle, get your boy to the late game, right? Let him play in some of those situations. Let him pop off here. They need to get the opportunity to do that. But right now, Nico and Polarize, they're getting active.
They're trying to put their first points on the board today. What can they do? They're close to placement points. And they're, of course, hunting for some eliminations right now. Meanwhile, Polarize just get rolled up on, and no, Nico gets punished as well here. This is Diego and Bizzle. They managed to give them enough time to go ahead and heal back up, and Diego and Bizzle are fighting back now. Down goes Nico and Polarize there. A quick 6 for Diego and Bizzle now. While that was all unfolding, Kanata found one in the feed there onto, I believe it was Quaz. So another set of eliminations now for Kanata, and that's a team that genuinely was struggling with Surge all day long, so those early elims are crucial.
And everybody knows who FaZe Bizzle is. He's been around forever, one of the standouts in the Fortnite community. A lot of people haven't heard of Diego Plays before. That's because it was somebody who was ripped right out of creative, right out of the build battles. And I'll get back to my point real quick. As Cold and Scented, they managed to make it into the zone second place. We saw Scented just hanging out there, and hey, he's gonna pop plenty of bandages, no surge to worry about. Little fortunate here as because of the aggression in the lobby, they get kind of a second chance at this game.
Yeah, and that was looking super close right there for a second. It could have been taken out. Now, all that's left is minis, but there's a player behind this wall. It's Bryce. He's hovering around this general area somewhere. Meanwhile, in the storm, Skittles is healing off here. We saw how many medkits and stuff he had before, and now look, it's only improved since the last time we tuned in. So he's got more HP to work with, but he still has to play for the pickup here onto users. And then he's got to dash his way to the zone. Someone was rebooted. Surge might just turn back on. Be careful for someone like Skittles. I mean, that might be his worst nightmare.
Yeah, that could end up being very, very not beneficial to the way he is playing as somebody who is very used to just hanging out in the storm and eating as many fishes and trying to time out the medkits. Can put you in a tough situation. You see him trying to min-max that as best as he can. He's even checking in. You've said the warning. Storm Surge turns back on. Is he the one below? Because if he doesn't have shield kegs, he's not going to be able to do much about it, but Nick is going to be able to bail him out, and Scare Bear actually ends up getting knocked. We'll keep an eye on the feed. If Acorn's able to get that confirmation, that's going to throw a definite wrench in the wheel.
Oh, he's down. Scare Bear is out to the hands of Fatch. He gets the full elimination there. It knocks over, so that means Walkers is left by himself in this game. Remember, they were inside the top 3. This is excellent if you're rooting for Miro and Booga. Even better for Kanata and Adris, who are closer to that next placement point threshold to go ahead and hop their way on up. Finally now top 35, so placement points do get given out for some of our duos here in the lobby. Loadout not looking exceptional by any means, but hey, they're still alive, they're still in the game. Meanwhile, Larson's under some serious pressure right now. Big fight breaking out against Oliver, OG, and Jeff. Shots coming in from the third party here. Larson smartly positioning himself around the side, though. He's trying to play this out. That's his wall. Big edit there. Down body there, too. Can he save Quanti?
He's trying to be able to pull him back and then get him into the full built metal, but he needs to be careful about resetting this. Some very good edits in position. Unfortunately, he did miss about 2 edits there that might have let him cut it off and potentially have a chance to go aggressive, as it gives Oliver, OG, and Jeff the time to heal. But if I'm Larson, I'm okay with that. I want them to come and try and chase me, and in fact, that's exactly what they're doing. As we see, Scented actually gets a little phase-on-phase crime in the feed as Dubs goes down, and Oliver OG puts that drum shock into work. He's gonna find it.
Nicely done there. Already now starting to bounce his way back into this, put himself back in the conversation. But Voyo and XFD Surge, they start to hop in. So does Kaz and Fishy, and you're seeing what unfolds when teams need that surge. They're willing to fight outside the edge of the storm here. Priority is priority. Agers falls in the feed, but not before trading out with Bank there. So that might be a huge change of events now for Kanata, who might have to play this one out by himself. Meanwhile, Cold and Scented bounce their way back into the tournament here.
I mean, they're effectively in first place as long as we don't.
is down, Nets is down. That's a top 5 team. GG's.
Yeah, going to be able to still close the gap. But again, if you're just tuning in, welcome. We got this game, and then we're turning over to NA West. The story of NA East has been Peterbot and Bila doing absolutely everything, with the exception of game number 4. But right now, everyone else is playing catch-up. The best players in the region, like Sentin and Cold, trying to catch them. Booga and Mira trying to catch them. Joji and Rokane, they're all behind the pace being set there.
This is it. Cold and Scented definitely know that's a solo up above. Diego comes down, though, into the Lion's Den, and they bite back. They get pushed now. Cold completely commits here, so does Scented. They jump on in. It looks like they find one for their troubles. It's Bizzle who goes down first. Diego falls shortly afterwards, and just like that, they have managed to pick up a slew of eliminations. So much material. Double the launch pads now as well.
Blake and Lawrence, they're underneath Storm Surge. They were in 6, but some key shots coming out from Lawrence is going to force them to eat into nearly all of their extra utility to just make it past. And they don't have enough HP to continue pushing forward. And they get ripped down as we have the half in, half out revealed on the opposite side. That's where you hear everyone taking to the skies and just trying to make it into this last end game of the day here in NA.
6 places down. Now Booga and Miro managed to claim that 6 for themselves there. Perfect spot to be in here, but Look at the loadout. No heals to work with other than a med kit halfway through the material count, and you can see this has been a very difficult game for Bugha and Miro. Meanwhile, Cold finds another one in the feed. They are starting to really rack up points and eliminations this game here. That's setting up for a very great day 2 for them, right? You want to close strong. You want to close that gap.
And they're trying to close it on the back of eliminations. We talked about coming into this, how Peterbot and Byla had 50% more elims and nearly 85% more placement points, but they've slowed down their pace a little bit. They're trying to say, hey, as long as we keep getting the placement points, we're fine. Zenton and Cold, they don't want to slow down. They want to keep going. They want to try and hit that hot streak and keep sliding, but we're also bouncing back and away from the natural high ground here. So it's going to be a shift in who has control over this part of the lobby as we head into the moving circles.
Definitely, it's going to get more and more interesting now. Hoofishy and Kaz are up on high ground. Pamso and Fash are also close to it as well. They're setting themselves up for the full pull here. Pamso and Fash can genuinely just straight bounce back into this. Look at this. They're in 15th place. Oh, 90 points here. That's really not that bad. Remember, these standings are so close, guys. Don't let that number fool you. That one elimination jumps about 3 points in overall placement, so now they're in 12. That is how close our top 15 is genuinely right here.
But look at where Peterbot and Byla have
They're
been.
in a different tournament.
They look to try and take the high ground. They're at 199, but every time they're on the front side of zone, they take this absolutely brilliant angle to cut off everyone else, and then they say, we're good. We'll play late game, and they've done fantastic when they got there. And just checking the board, 4th place down. 6th place down, 7th place down. Everybody else trying to make up space, but Gold 25 being down is leaving Aviv to do it all by himself again.
He has to clutch up here. Only 21 above the surge here. Several more players separate him from that surge being active here, and is going to happen soon. Meanwhile, Peterbot gets another one. This starts a Bugha, huge upset for him. Top 20 is not that high, guys. There's a lot of points left here, so Miro, once again, is left by himself. And this is a huge opportunity now for Peterbot to, again, force out the competition, give them more space to break away with the lead here. Meanwhile, Teo still alive there, making his rotate. There's Miro clawing his way through the bottom of the low ground here. Smart rotates by him. He plays his way around the outskirts here, changes layers. It's looking good so far.
But look, Peterbot and Byla, again, they're prioritizing. Get to the front side of zone and just rotate. Cut everyone off and about face. Meanwhile, Kaz and Hoofishy, they're trying to make a claim, get the momentum rolling onto day 2. They got height. They got 6 eliminations. Trying to run it out as Miro is also trying to just hop, skip, jump it out. We see Sentit pick up another one. Duke picks up one in the feed. We're into the top 15 here in game number 6. And do we have any more dramatics? We opened up the day with an absurd Miro solo clutch. Can he do it again as Sentit and Cold are trying to put the pedal to the metal and not let Byla and Peterbot run away with it, but they're lighting up the feed as well.
It was looking like it wasn't going to be Sentit and Cold's day, but they managed to continue to pop off and prove everyone wrong here. Meanwhile, Miro just holding on. He finds a single
Another
Ewan.
one for
That's
Byla.
perfect for him. Things start to add up here. What can he do now? He's starting to run his way to that new zone. Sentit and Cold are still in a world of trouble here. There's teams above them. There's teams below them. They have to continue to pop off and fight back. Meanwhile, Peterbot in the low ground has got another player in his sights here.
And they have zone priority this time as Miro ends up finding another as a solo.
Oh, high ground
Duke
gets hurt.
and Damper. You can see the chop. They're out of builds trying to go up. And Sentit and Cold are going for the height. Sentit and Cold are going for height. Hoofishy is down. Kaz is going to be forced out with only 5 builds as Miro finds yet another. Kaz gets wiped, but Sentit and Cold take away height in game number 6.
And now they're at 6 eliminations here. They can really start to catch up. Peterbot and Byla have someone on their heels. It's not over yet. This tournament is still here. They're starting to catch up for Duke. And of course, Jamper, they're still in the fight now as well. Already at 5 elims here. Can they take down Peterbot and company? The pressure's coming in. Here comes the edit, but no, doesn't find it there. However, Byla and Peterbot are looking here. They need to make a decision. Fight the slow ground team or battle for hype, but no, the focus comes down low. It's not looking good. Hughes gets crushed by Peterbot and a great follow-up there for the full finish. And now he blocks things off. He gets the loot. This is a win condition available to them now that they have some material. Chimp is playing that backside. He's going to be very dangerous.
But Sentit and Cold know exactly where Peterbot and Byla are, and they are hounding and they're spraying every single bullet their way. Cold will end up finding Jamper instead, and now we have a 2v1v1 to close out the game here, with first and second being the only duos off. They want to put a stamp on it. If you're going to start the comeback now, why wait till day 2? Take some points away here and now. Peterbot with no builds. Will there be any more dramatics? He's taken down. Scented and Cold, 9 eliminations, Monster. They are pushing.
This is it. They should be able to close out here and put up their first victory of the day. And down they go. And a Big 10 elimination win there for Cold and Scented.
I mean, what a way. That's perfectly an allegory, a metaphor, an example, whatever the correct word is right now, because I'm floundering. This has been brilliant. Peterbot and Byla playing fantastically frontside zone and a belt facing, but Scented and Cold saying, hey, you talk a little bit of trash about our last performance in FNCS. We are showing up today, and what a way to close out day number 1.